Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. So if you want to grab an extra water to stay cool, we've got cookies, chips, some extra sandwiches in the back. So feel free or use the restroom, and we'll get going here in about 2 minutes. We are so excited for you to hear all the great and wonderful things happening at BCCF. My name is Danny Hettinger. I'm the Donor Engagement Manager at BCCF. And I'm really excited to introduce our President and CEO, Mary Mullet. So without further ado.
Thanks, Danny. So excited to see all of you here today. So welcome. It's really great to see you. I thank you for spending your afternoon with us today. And whether you're a nonprofit partner, a donor, educator, business leader, an elected official, a volunteer, or a longtime friend of the foundation, or just someone showing up to hear where we're going, we're really grateful to have this time with you today. I hope you're enjoying your Jimmy John's. Or is it Jimmy John's? Is that what we have? Okay, I'm getting that after. So today's really important because it represents more than a launch of a strategic plan for the Battle Creek Community Foundation, and it represents more of the refresh on our mission statement. It represents the next chapter, and so I'm grateful you're here to hear this with us. We have a renewed commitment at BCCF and an open invitation for you. That invitation is to build stronger relationships with each of you, with our community, and to create more dialogue. It's an invite to shape the future of our community together. And that's why we call today Bridge and Build. So again, my name is Mary Mullet. I'm the President and CEO at the Battle Creek Community Foundation. And we're here with you because we believe community shapes how we move for the community. We believe that community is built through strong, authentic relationship and connection, and people continuing to show up for one another over time. Today we're excited to share our refreshed mission statement, a new vision statement, and our new values. And our strategic plan for the next 3 years. So you can find all of those items on your table. I know some people were already looking at them and talking about them. But before we talk about where we're going, I want to spend a moment reflecting with you on where we've been, because BCCF has been in a season of transition. So again, around 2 years ago, I joined BCCF, and we entered into a new chapter with new leadership. And as with any long-standing organization, leadership transitions create an opportunity. They create an opportunity to pause, listen, assess, and consider how an organization evolves to meet the community need into the future. One of the first priorities in this new season for us was to listen. We listen to you, we listen to the community. We listen to our nonprofit partners, our donors, our community educators, civic leaders, residents, and to our board members and team. We convened folks in the planning for the strategic plan, and through focus groups and interviews, heard your feedback. What we learned was super valuable. People were seeking a community foundation that felt connected, that felt collaborative, transparent, and accessible. Folks expressed that they wanted stronger communication with us, greater partnership, and more clarity around decision making. Many people expressed a desire for ongoing dialogue and even stronger relationship building. Those conversations became foundational to this strategic plan. Because the plan wasn't created behind closed doors, it was shaped by your community voice. And we share a desired outcome, which is that BCCF is firmly planted for the future for you in Battle Creek. So one of the opportunities that comes with that new leadership is not to forget the past. That's not what we're doing here today, because this foundation has a remarkable history of generosity and impact to our community. Instead, this leadership transition and this new vision creates an opportunity to ask questions. We ask, how do we honor the legacy while positioning for the future? How do we strengthen trust with our community? Excuse me. And how do we better communicate our role? How do we become even more responsive to community needs and opportunities? All those questions we ask through this process. So in that spirit of reflection, we wove your responses, your input throughout the strategic plan. You'll hear it in the emphasis on listening and learning. You'll see it in our focus on transparency and accessibility. And you will experience it in our commitment to partnership and lifting community voice. Thanks, Lynn, for the water. I got one behind me if I need a break. Thank you. I know, I was walking around the room, I said to someone, I'm gonna lose my voice before I get up there, so bear with me. Okay, so our vision, and if you look in there's a card on your table, if you flip it over, has the refreshed mission statement, our vision statement, and our values. Our vision is simple. We envision a thriving community where everyone belongs. What I found really cool about that vision statement was when we first discussed this statement as a team, which again was formed by community input, there was no debate at the table. The vision statement was probably the simplest statement for us to craft. It resonated for the team immediately because we believe belonging matters, and we believe that belonging means every person in this community has value, voice, and opportunity. So that vision statement is supported by our new refreshed mission statement, connecting people, ideas, and resources to expand opportunity and create lasting community benefit for today and tomorrow. Our mission captures that unique role of a community foundation. And honestly, it's one of the reasons we wanted to bring you together today and host a Bridge and Build, because many people are still not entirely sure what a community foundation does, what our community foundation actually does every day. And we're all unique, community foundations are. And our work shows up in so many places in the community, it can be confusing. So let me try to explain it simply. A community foundation helps a community invest in itself, permanently. As your foundation, we're charged with considering today's needs and building resources for tomorrow, for your children's children. This is our commitment, and when we say for good, forever, for all, that's what we mean. Bccf is here to connect the generosity in this community to the need in the community. We do this by stewarding charitable resources for long-term impact and supporting donors in achieving their philanthropic goals. With this work each day, we invest in our nonprofits and the local initiatives around the community, and we manage to grow our scholarships for our students. We support local projects and events through our fiscal sponsorship programs, and we connect and convene partners around new initiatives. We are here to help our community respond to the opportunities and to the challenges, and we steward our resources locally so they continue serving our community for generations to come. In many ways, a community foundation is both a steward and a connector. And as we listened throughout the process of our strategic plan, we heard a consistent question. What is the role of the Battle Creek Community Foundation? And it's a fair question. Sometimes we convene, sometimes we invest, sometimes we launch initiatives, and sometimes we step in to steward important community assets while there is no clear organizational home. And there are seasons and reasons for that work and what a community foundation should do. However, strong stewardship also requires us to periodically ask a different question. Are we still the best organization to carry this work forward? That question sits at the heart of one of our important priorities in the strategic plan. It's, I think, the fifth priority around leadership. So we think about, are we still the best steward? It challenges us, our team, and the board to focus on the work only a community foundation can do, while empowering our strong partners to lead where they have great mission focus and long-term commitment as well. So in thinking this through, and this commitment, we want to be clear. We're not going to do less in this new season. We're going to do what we're uniquely built to do for our community. And we're thinking about that every day. So 2 examples to make this a little bit more practical. So recently, some of you have heard, and I've met some folks that haven't heard yet, but a recent example is the beloved Pool Family Community Center, and the transition to a local nonprofit that just happened in the last week. So many years ago, Burnham Brook faced a significant challenge. So those of you that know Pool, it used to be Burnham Brook, most of us know that. And BCCF stepped forward to help preserve that important community asset in the programming. For more than 18 years, we proudly cared for and invested in what is now known as the Pool Family Community Center. Today, the center's thriving, thanks to our amazing team. Folks feel welcome today, programming is vibrant, and community engagement is strong. And because it's strong, we have the opportunity to make a thoughtful transition from a position of strength. After careful consideration, lots and lots of meetings, read that, lots and lots of meetings, BCCF has transitioned ownership and operations to Senior Care Partners PACE. So Pool Family and Community Center will be owned and operated by Senior Care Partners PACE. I've had some people ask why. Many people have been very interested in this was the original plan, and so we're excited to see that asset move to a nonprofit. And I believe Senior Partners PACE is uniquely positioned to sustain and grow the type of service we continue to steward, but they're built to do that for long term for the community and provide those services. So programs continue, memberships remain in place, and a community has access to room rentals, and that leadership is steadying forward. We're really happy to see that transition forward. So again, BCCF in this example is not stepping away. This is us ensuring the work continues under an organization specifically designed to operate and strengthen this type of service for our community. It's an example of us squarely stepping in the role as your Battle Creek Community Foundation and allowing our partners to serve in their role as service providers. I have a second example, and this one we've been working on with boards and community members. So the second example is specifically around the Legacy student program. For many years, BCCF played an important role in post-secondary attainment efforts related to legacy programming. We remain deeply committed to helping our students succeed and we still hold hundreds of scholarships for students and for community. Also, I'm putting a plug in here. Our scholarships can support both children and adult learners. So if you know an adult learner that needs to apply for a scholarship, see Celia before the end of today. So we remain deeply committed in our scholarship space, and the Legacy Scholars Fund and program is one of hundreds of funds that we hold. With Legacy, we started to hear from our students that they often found themselves navigating multiple organizations to receive their legacy support. And when we looked at that experience through the student lens, we saw an opportunity. The opportunity was to partner with KCC and continue to move programming in a direct student manner to KCC. So that simplifies the process for students, and we're here to make the process as simple as we can for our students. So Kellogg Community College, that works with legacy students every day, they're the experts in advising. They're the experts in scholarship packaging, enrollment, student experience, and degree or certificate completion. They're uniquely positioned to provide direct student support in a seamless and coordinated way for the Legacy Scholarship Fund. So all that to say, we're working towards transitioning the Legacy Program and Scholarship Fund to KCC. You're hearing it here first, I think, probably. And KCC would be that point of contact for our legacy students. So again, through a student lens, one point of contact to navigate. That is absolutely not because BCCF is focusing less on students. I'll say it again, we are not focusing less on students. We are doubling down on focusing on students. Instead, I suggest this is transitioning because we care so deeply about our students and their success. And we want students receiving legacy support to have a seamless and supported experience. So those two examples. And of course, like I said earlier, we're continuing to steward hundreds of scholarships. Please know, scholarships are a focus. We'll continue investing in educational opportunity, and we love this work with students. Our commitment today and tomorrow is that we're helping to align systems and the resources around our students and around community. And so those two examples hold that up. We will, however, always and forever consider carefully who should be doing the work, who should be leading the work, and who should be bolstering and supporting the work. That's on our mind every day. We're continuing to assess our position as a supporter and a funder for those doing amazing work throughout the community. That's a demonstration of partnership and trust in our partners. And we believe that we don't need to do all things. We have great partners in this community to carry efforts and programs forward. And we're talking about that daily. So we're here to support, we're here to bolster, and we're not here to do the things that partners in our community are set up to do. And that's what it means to place ourselves squarely in the role of a community foundation, an investor in our community. So there's just some examples in those two examples, but there's so many recent movements that all have that in mind. And these are not easy transitions. However, they're the right decision for our community and with our community, and that is our commitment. We heard from community that they wanted us to reconsider where we were and who we were and how we were moving. So we're here to listen, and we're here to learn from you where we can improve and adjust and continue to steward the resources that are entrusted to us in this manner and for days and years to come. With that, I will pause, because you know I can keep talking forever, Maya, right?
Yes.
Yes. I need to pause, don't I? Yes. Today is not about me just presenting to you. And I'll remind you, so there is a strategic plan copy on your table. You're welcome to take that and read through it. I'd love to talk to you about what's in there. But we wanted to hear from you today as well. So I hope everybody had a good lunch and is ready to interact with us up here. I'll pause on remarks, and what we're going to do instead is have some dialogue. At your table, there are note cards and pens where you can write responses if you want us to collect your response to some of these questions and just know them at our office. Also, we have the Menti app option, which Angela, behind the screen, she wanted to be hidden by this little visual here, but Angela can wave. Angela's working Menti up here. There's a Menti app that you can use the QR code to hop on with your phone and respond to our questions there, and I'll try to get to some of those responses. And don't worry, because I'm Italian and I like to have a good conversation. We will also have folks walking around the room with some mics. I would love to hear your input verbally. And so what we're going to do, you see our new values. If you look at this on your table, we've got the 5 values at the bottom that are under the teal heading. We're going to talk about each of these. We want to hear from you how we can show up for you and demonstrate these values. So, we're going to start with, let's see if I can do this one-handed, Angela. So, those values again, they're integrity, stewardship, equity, together, and listening and learning. We're going to start first with the question, how can BCCF demonstrate integrity to you? So if you saw us out in community or are sitting with one of our team members, what would integrity look like to you? How do we move? So you're welcome again, and Angela can help us. Anybody trying to get on Menti and having any trouble, you can raise your hand. Yep, over here. Angela's on it. If anybody else having trouble with Menti? Okay, so you're welcome to plug your response into the app or raise your hand if you have an idea or a comment around integrity and how we demonstrate that for you. And I'm going to get a drink while we're...
There are cards on your table with the QR code if that's easier to scan than on the screen. Lynn has a mic on that side and I have one over here. If anyone wants to ask a question out loud. or if you want to submit on a note card, we can grab those.
Testing. Did we start with the hardest one? Should we start at the bottom? Yes, I think we started with the hardest one. This might screw you up on Menti. Can we go to the last one first? Yeah. Oh, we have a comment from Doug.
Yeah, I have trouble thinking in the abstract. So with integrity, you had not talked about Encourage BC. How would integrity and accountability connect with Encourage BC?
Super. And I think I'm trying to like get distance because I think the two mics are playing off each other. So if you see me doing this, I'm not trying to walk away, Doug. So Encourage BC, how would we demonstrate integrity? So Encourage BC is one of the programs that we oversee. It's all of our fiscally sponsored projects, right? We have 67 projects today that we fiscally sponsor. Things like Color the Creek. Toss one more out there at me. Food pantries are under Encourage BC, so that's your question. So our integrity with Encourage BC, we actually took a really intentional look at all of those projects in the last year and a half. Encourage BC used to be a separate legal entity from the Battle Creek Community Foundation. It was a supporting org of. We've actually merged all the Encourage BC projects back into Bccf because we felt like that added a layer we didn't need to steward that well. And we re-looked at sort of a pro forma, the model of all of the projects and the service fees. And we know that we are subsidizing about half of the costs so that those projects can thrive without enduring heavy burdens on service fees. And so I'm not sure if I'm getting to the heart of your question, but I would suggest just our intentionality around really moving that as a program of BCCF versus a separate legal entity was an intentional move with integrity for the community, so we can know that BCCF is stewarding those projects forward. Is that what you were going for, Doug? And I'll bring you.
Kind of. I just wanted to know a little bit more about Encourage BC because it's an ongoing effort, and integrity is about wholeness and connection.
So Doug's a good student because he read it in our strategic plan. So what's really exciting to me is that some of the things that are being noted in our strategic plan, we finalized during the process of the planning. So Encourage BC is noted there because of the merger we were looking at, because of the intentional look at the model that we got. Is this, okay. And so thank you for noting it in the back, but yes, that was noted in the strategic plan as a leadership role we were evaluating. And we believe that those projects really are amazing for our community, so we want to keep stewarding them forward. Good? Super, great question. I'll take questions too. I know I asked how can we demonstrate integrity, but welcome questions around integrity or any of the values. Okay, or should we go to the last value first? You said I started with the hardest ones. You want me to go to another one? Oh. Oh, well let's look up here. So I've got, I'm gonna feed off that. So what I'm seeing up on the screen, so stand for what's right and support those initiatives, absolutely. Transparent communication, I hope that today feels that way. Transparency and actions and messages. The annual, so here's a great one that we might be able to think about. Annual report should include actual amounts of funding given during the year. Copies of that report should be available on the website. Perfect. There is an annual report on the website. However, we refreshed our website in the last year, and so it's landing on a different page that's called Transparency, I believe. And under you have to toggle to the report, but maybe we'll make that a little bit more prominent on the website this year. I'm seeing consistent stewardship, so communication is key, so that understanding can be a focus and a source of knowledge. Being intentional about including all parts of the community and getting input and finding solutions to challenges that are unique to our community. Thank you for that input. Hey, thanks for the feedback. That's better. And so, yes, if you'd like to make sure that we're reaching out to you, I would say before today is done, our team, I will introduce our team later in my remarks, but they'd love to meet with you and have your contact info so we can make sure you're getting our communications as well. And so then another one, admit mistakes, tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. I hear it. I hope that we're starting to do that. And finally, I think I've gotten to most of them. Okay. No, but there's a couple more. I believe just being transparent would be how to show integrity is up there. This has not always been the case. And then the presentation in April on the breakdown of funds was very insightful. So I think you were talking about our mini conference. Jennifer, Grant's team, woo-hoo, yeah. It was very insightful and helpful to understand where grant making currently sits and continue providing that kind of information for the community. We're here for that. We want you to understand exactly how our grants are made and the funding that's available. So appreciate that comment a ton. What else do I have up there? Report on outcomes, not just dollars. Perfect. We would love to be reporting on outcomes much more robustly. It takes a little bit different data to get there, but it's in our sites, and we want to get there too. So we want to know every dollar is making an impact. All right, Danny, how are we doing on time?
We
Next
have
one.
about 2.5 minutes left if anybody has any final comments or questions for this question.
For this particular
Yes.
one? I think we can keep moving.
All right, I'll reset my timer.
Mary, you have an integrity one.
Oh, in my hand. Well, all right, we'll stay on integrity. He handed me something and I just kept going. Thank you, Lynn. Never happens, right, Sam? Never happens at home, does it? No, never. All right, so integrity. So how you can demonstrate it. Listen openly to criticism, doing the right thing, i.e. diversity, equity, inclusion, even when it's not popular. Truth-telling, even when it's uncomfortable. I agree completely, and I'm here for the hard conversations, and our team is getting more and more comfortable with the hard conversations, aren't we, Maya? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And you might notice in our plan, if you flip, I think it is like the third page, if memory serves, but equity, yeah, it'd be like 1, 2, 3. It's 3 pages in. This page is really important, where you have 3 bullet points. Equity is one of those. So equity shows up as a value for us, but it's also showing up here on this page. And this page, these are the 3 lenses that all of our strategic plan will be vetted through and looked at as we plan our activities under each of our goals. And equity is one of those lenses that we're considering in every area of our strategic plan. So thank you, whoever brought that card. Any last thoughts on integrity? Otherwise, we'll move to stewardship, and I'm going to grab a drink. So what does excellent stewardship look like? What would excellent stewardship? So excellent, sustainable stewardship. What does that look like to you? If we're getting it right. Oh my gosh, I thought this group would be way more adorable. All right, let's see. I love to talk, so I could just do this all day. Policies and practices that welcome oversight and accountability. Super. So making sure our policies keep our stewardship in front, and we agree. Kathy.
So Mary, I think, I hate to say giving back,
Yeah.
Cool Center is an example of that, but I'm so impressed that that happened. Because when the changeover was made to the foundation, it was really scary because I was much younger then. And
We
didn't
all were.
realize how much I would need or look forward to what the Cool Center should have been able to offer us as a senior center. So thank you so much for giving it back to senior partners who I know are going to rock the house with it. as well.
Super.
Thank you for
Thanks for
stewarding that in the meantime.
So stewarding as, that example would be this thinking about stewardship, and it's kind of was in my remarks. I don't know if I droned on and you might have been not enough. But that stewardship of thinking about what we're uniquely positioned to do, Kathy, and what other organizations are uniquely positioned to do. I take that to heart, I really, really do, because communities thrive when the systems get it right. So, appreciate that. Others? Oh, yeah, up on the board. All right, let's see. acting with integrity even when no one's watching. Yes, it's like my mother's in the room, but I agree. Balancing short-term needs with long-term sustainability. Absolutely, and something we have been evaluating heavily for 2 years. Consistency in managing priorities. Yes, someone who manages time and resources with honesty and integrity. Appreciating that comment. And if anybody that made these comments wants to lean in a little deeper, I'm here for it. Being forward-thinking for long-term projects and sustainability, sharing long-term financial goals. Yes, and that will come more and more with the strategic plan because we're certainly putting those goals in front. Yes, ma'am. I got to do this.
Okay. This one is special to me too, in every way. Remembering that we are holding the dollars of the donors and of the community.
Yeah.
They are not our dollars to distribute alone. So thank you for that.
I love that so much. Yeah, we are but stewards, right? We are but facilitators of getting the dollars out into community that donors have entrusted to us. And we have some of our really major donors here in the room with us right now. And I want them to hear that we are your steward to get these resources out into community. So I appreciate that so much. Thank you for saying that. Okay, I'm probably going to miss some of these because it's hard to flip, but I believe, so somebody said, I believe the thought that went into transitioning Legacy Scholars and Cool Family Center demonstrates this. So through those examples, we are demonstrating stewardship. I appreciate that comment. Leaving things stronger, safer, and better organized than you found them. Yes, it's like my father's in the room. So I've got my mom in the room and my dad. That's awesome. Dad was like, take care of it, right? Yeah, and leave it better than you found it. Wise, practical, objective, and a visible partner in the community. So we're trying to show up every place we can. So appreciate that. Using data to understand both current challenges, but also identifying the evidence-based solutions for the community, and also creating and measurable outcomes in grant funding. Yeah, outcomes are on my mind. We are talking about that. We want to get to measuring, we are measuring some outcomes, but we want to deepen that even further to know where the dollars are impacting the larger outcomes for kids, families, and individuals in the community. And having the ability to maintain the best interest of community and protect and invest in its survival for a lifetime. Yes, as a community foundation, see, that's what makes us really unique. We are legally bound to grow our investments for this community so that they outlive all of us in this room. Yeah? Your children's grandchildren will experience grants and investment from this community foundation. So what we do today really, really matters for tomorrow. So hope you hear that. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Let's see, what did I miss so far? Being the lens that connects donor desire to what the true needs in the community are. Yes, we try to keep our finger on the pulse, don't we, Lynn? So that we can hear what's happening and we can help our donors find a path forward to impact our community in a positive way. That's a very good example of what we do. And then educating the public about how to set up donor advice funds. Oh yeah, so this is in that. If somebody's reading the strategic plan, well done. So donor advice funds are one of our focus areas in the next few years. We have a handful of donor advice funds and we want to help our donors grow those funds and bring their dollars into the community. One of the things we've done in the last 2 years is opened up, so many of you know about our 2 grants cycles that happen every year, the competitive grant cycles. You can apply online. But we've opened our DAF funds up for organizations to apply directly to the DAF donors so that our DAF advisors, our donors, can hear what's happening in the community and decide if they want to become involved. It's simply a donor reading through your application, and it's a much shorter application, and deciding if they want to fund that initiative. That was one of the strategies we've put in place since nonprofits have taken such a tough hit on funding over the last little while, is trying to get more dollars out, and that's when we were doing that. by bringing the need direct to the DAF donors. Are we coming close on time?
I was gonna say,
This one fired everybody up. Stewardship's a thing. All right. It's good for us to know that too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so our DAF donors super important to us, and they help by making grants to those projects. Our DAF donors help us extend the dollars out that we have in our endowed funds. They help us get more dollars out to our nonprofits. So appreciate that comment. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. Let's see if they're the last one. Continue to issue prompt thank you notes for donations that are made. I'm on it. They come across my desk. I hope you see a note from me and you see the thank you. We will work on that and we'll keep those coming. All right. What's our next one? So when we say, so this is important because everybody defines equity differently, in my opinion, or in my experience, I should say. When we say we're champions for equity, how can you know that we really mean that? And by the way, these values and this value fully supported by our board. So I want to let the community know, our team, 110% behind our values, as is our board. I was very intentional about making sure that we were talking about how do we define equity as a community foundation. And a lot it's about access and systems for us. Super important. So how do you know we mean this if we're saying it? Because a lot of people say it. How do you know we mean this? What would you see us doing? And the room went silent.
They're typing, they're typing.
They're typing. I know, I'm looking.
You have what kind of budget?
Kathy again. Yay, thank you.
Sorry, Mary.
Don't be sorry, I appreciate you.
Well,
Oh.
foundation needs to work. Sorry. Anyways, as a white lady sitting at a bunch of committees, we really got to work a lot harder at diversifying our communities. And it's scary for me to say this, that's why I'm getting all weird about it. And I know that we certainly are working harder at getting more men in, and because as an old white lady, I sit on a bunch of committees with a bunch of other old white ladies. And nothing wrong with us, right? I mean, that's cool. And both, all the equity lenses. So people of color, trans people, people that are sexually different than a large number of us. All the diversities. We really need to work harder. You really need to work harder at diversity in communities. Thank you.
I appreciate that so much, Jackie. So we really want our committees to represent the community we're serving, right?
Yeah.
Every day. And I agree. And I appreciate your volunteerism, but I think Kathy just threw the gauntlet down. Any men in the room that want to join a committee? But we're here for that, and we want the committees that are making decisions, because you may or may not know this about the Community Foundation, but a volunteer committee of community members makes decisions on our grant making. We have multiple volunteer committees. Multiple volunteer committees make decisions on our scholarships. And so we want those committees to represent the students we're thinking about, the nonprofits we're thinking about, so I appreciate that comment a ton. Thank you for that. Got some up on the board. Do I have anyone else in the room yet? Okay, up on the board. Always including people who are closest to the issue and solving the problems. Nothing about me without me is how I say that, but yes, agreed. Funding all areas of work, not just one specific area. Yes, we have over 1,000 funds. Actually, we can't get away with focusing on just one area because the 1,000 funds tell us where to put our dollars. Our donors get to, when they start a fund with us, they get to let us know how they'd like those dollars to be spent, whether it's literacy, education, the arts. Those funds tell us where we're going to put the dollars. Spearhead ways to tackle systemic barriers and use funds when systems explode. We're thinking about how do we disrupt, yes, systems that are broken or not accessible for sure. I'd love to talk to anyone that wants to start to work with us around funds in that manner, because we'd love to build and grow some funds for the community for that need. Making room for everyone's voice at the table. I hope I'm doing that today, even though you're all quiet. Hopefully we'll keep doing that for you. Ensuring an understanding of the true needs of the community. Yes, and I'd love to talk to whoever put that up there about how we make sure we're doing that. I know we're trying and we're striving for that, but how do we ensure that? Oh boy, there's a whole bunch more up there, Rachel. All right, let's see. And you cannot fund everyone's request, so not everyone is going to be happy. True. Times are changing, and DAF have a very specific request. Times are changing, and our DAF donors get to decide the specific requests. Yes, ma'am.
For those who don't know what a DAF is.
Yes. So donor advised fund. So any one of us could decide we want to start. Thank you for that question. By the way, good to see you. That any one of us can decide we want to start a DAF. So you can work with the Community Foundation to open a DAF. And that DAF becomes a fund that holds your dollars that you contribute in that you can make grants out of. So you can be a grant maker out of a DAF and decide what charitable efforts you want to come behind and support, which is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying we're opening up that space twice a year. Charitable organizations and projects can pitch to our DAF donors so that the DAF donor can make a decision if they'd like to grant make. Make sense? We'll keep going. Thank you for the question. Introduce BCCF board members. And then there's a question up there. What is BCCF's definition of equity? And this was a super intentional definition, so I'm going to actually glance at it so I don't get it wrong. Because one hand that doesn't work. All right. So we thought of every word in this statement, so we really stand behind every word in this statement. But when we say we value equity, that means at BCCF, we invest in our community to expand opportunity and well-being for all by addressing systemic barriers, increasing access, and supporting solutions which are informed by community input. So lifting those voices into how we move forward and breaking down systemic barriers and in building access. We are doubling down on our commitment to be accessible to this community and make sure folks that didn't know about how to be supported by our resources know how to work with us so that everyone has access to the resources that we are entrusted.
Final thoughts, Mary, unless you want to keep going with this question.
I'm sure I missed a bunch, so if you plugged into Menti, we appreciate it because we're going to take it back to the office and make sure that we're hearing that feedback in that way. So I'll do one more. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
When the foundation acts as a convener in the community to talk collectively about access to care and services and create solutions based on true collaboration. So that's how we would demonstrate equity. I love that. Thank you for all the insights. I'm sorry I didn't get to everyone's.
Again, Mary, thanks, Doug Nettleton here. The equity, I can see we expand access and remove barriers. I kind of want to echo what Kathy was saying, that diversity, equity, and inclusion is essential. And when we talk about removing barriers, there is historically systemic racism in all levels of our nation, community. We just need to learn about our history a little bit more to understand that. So equity also means addressing inequity. And so I want diversity, equity, and inclusion to be faced in a just way. And I love the term Ubuntu. We are who we are through each other. Shalom. Everybody has a place at the table. justice. Loving my neighbor as myself doesn't mean I just do charity. We are in this together, and who we are is who we are together. So the we is very important. I just can't emphasize that enough, so I echo what Kathy was saying.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much. And so I agree, I want to celebrate diversity that is in our community, and we want to build equitable and break down inequitable, right? So that we can celebrate and create inclusive spaces everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. And to Kathy's point earlier, build ourselves a little bit more reflective of the community diversity, right? So that we are doing that for community. So appreciate Doug. We should sit down and talk someday because I know you've got more to say, but you were handing me the mic back, weren't you? All right, super. I think, we already have some up here for together. So I actually thought this one might be the hardest one, just saying the value of together. So, but Doug, you just brought it up. Together, right, is how we need to move forward. I absolutely agree. I don't know how to get through hard things without other folks, right? And that's really important that we build together. So this value, we called it together, and we thought about partnership, we thought about collaboration, we thought about all those words. They felt like buzzwords, and we wanted to be a little bit more intentional to say, no, truly together. Together is how we move, and together is the value that we hold at BCCF. So, when we say we hope to partner together with you, how do you know we are moving in this manner? I've already got some up here, call out in the room if there's someone else in the room that wants to add, but so one of the comments is consider how you share the message, the invite, and the actionable steps. If you think about that one for a minute. If whoever plugged that one in wants to say more, please speak into that one a little bit for me. Recognizing that the best outcomes happen when people work with one another rather than in isolation. Totally agree. It actually has to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. We get to better outcomes, we get to better results when we create inclusive spaces that are truly inclusive and have diversity at the table so that we can think through all ideas from every lens. And so I really do believe that, and we are here for that work. Okay, somebody said, oh, thank you. Somebody said, inviting us to events like this. So proactively giving us information about donor funds when they are specific to our target area of focus, housing, food security, insecurity, etc. We want to keep to help educating the community about how all of our funds are held and what they're for. So I held up the page in the strategic plan that talked about the lenses we're looking through. Education is also one of those lenses, so equity, education. And education is about helping community know what each fund we hold is in place for. So that we had in the last 2 years our first time ever participatory grant making time with our arts leaders, because we have an arts fund that we wanted to help community know this is what this fund does, and you are a leader in the community, how do we best use it? So I love that comment. It just spurs on some of the things we're trying to work through. Making sure those who want to participate can, listening and valuing different perspectives. Oh, I appreciate this comment too. These 2 sessions are evidence of your desire. Thank you to whoever said that. We're trying, we're striving every day for these values, for sure. And we're not perfect, right? Is anybody in this room perfect? I mean, yeah, we're not perfect. So when we get it wrong, we want to hear about that too. You know, I have shared with this community, everyone has my cell phone. You can call me anytime, you can text me anytime. We want to know when we're not perfect too. Okay, I'm not going to read each one of those because I feel like it's going to keep getting quiet here, but I'm going to read a couple more. So the last one that just came in, Together Matters, can you scroll a little bit? Together Matters, community fun events, continuing the thank you letters, when donations have been received, socializing events to increase knowledge of BCCF's mission to the region. I love that, and August, Danny, do you know the date? 26th. August 26th is our block party. We're taking it 1 block over because of road construction. Go ahead. ahead, Danny.
Well, I was just gonna say, so Festival Market Square will be our home for this year. So under the awning and all the fun stuff will still be there, just a little bit over, just over from the office. So 4 to 6 p.m. Yep.
Super. So when we talk about fun events, that's a free event with free food and free activities, and we want you there, so come join us downtown. Yes.
So my question or my statement really was directed towards being aware of how and where we invite folks, what the message is for folks, and if we really truly want to have a diverse group of individuals at the table or in the room, then we need to reach them where they are. We need to reach them with the language that they prefer. We need to look at what it is that we are intending to have as an outcome in order to present it in such a way that they can come to the table. Because if you don't go to where they are, they will never be there.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, so intentionality about where we go and who we're sitting with, and that our message is clear so that someone knows why they're showing up too, right? I love that.
You can say the same thing to 3 different You can say the same thing to 3 different groups, but have to say it differently to each of them in order to have the same message received.
Got it.
Got it, Sherry. Well, you can help me write those remarks. Yes.
I think also a role as funders that we can play is how do we encourage collaboration and togetherness among our funded partners when we're thinking about solving these big systemic issues? Like, what is our role to help encourage that level of collaboration and togetherness?
Yeah, for sure. And funders we get together. We have some funders in the room. Thank you for being here. We get together and we're talking about that too. Is how do we best collaborate and how do we leverage the dollars for the impact in community? So I love that.
About 45 seconds, Mayor.
Any last minute thoughts? Otherwise, I'll read one more. Okay. This one resonates as Sherry, your comment too, is who is missing and how do we reach those folks? I agree. How do we reach those folks? So if you have ideas for us, we're in for ideas to make sure we're inviting, not disinviting anyone. We really are for the whole community. So we want to make sure folks are invited. And that we're getting to each and every one in our community. All right, do we have one last one? So the last value is listening and learning. So how do we best listen and learn from our community? I think we've talked about it in some of the other values, but I'd love if you have more specific ideas here. So listening and learning is a powerful value because it reflects humility, curiosity, and commitment to continuous improvement. Yes, and continuous improvement is on our mind every day as well. Linwood Gray, I was just listening to, had another example to hold up about together from the last value, and that was the work United Way, as well as the funders and Grace Health and Bccf came together to propel ARC's kids forward for our community. So that was an example of together and trying to build some funder collaboration. And we're really excited, July 1st, ARC's kids. If you don't know what I'm talking about, everybody at Bccf raise your hand. Because if they don't know what I'm talking about, they can talk to anybody in this room that's from the Battle Creek Community Foundation, because we're so excited. Okay, up on the board, go to where folks are and see what they do in person. Love that. Our grants team tries to get on as many opportunities as we can to go out to our nonprofits. I do as well, but if you have something specific you want us to come and tour and see, we're here for that. We'd love to come out and see what everybody's up to. Be present at community organization gatherings and learn from us. Love that. Be present. Your actions will demonstrate how well you are listening and learning. I think be present is the theme up here for listening and learning. Be present. Show up. Right? I hope we're doing that. We are physically trying to be in as many places and spaces as we possibly can. And so we'd love to meet you and know about a new place or a new space if you have one in mind that we haven't showed up to. I'm going to wrap it up. Oh, look, somebody used the same words. Showing up in community spaces as an ally, be involved. Right on. As an ally, I get that, and standing beside those that are really advocating for the work needed. Anybody have last thoughts on this last value before we move forward? All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Let's see. What's the last one? We'll see what that last one is. Continue to collaborate with government leaders, Battle Creek, with BCU, Battle Creek Unlimited, the United Way, and others. Absolutely. We are trying to be present for community with legislators and with our partners in the space of funding, for sure. Super, super stuff. If there's no last minute, I feel like that last one, the theme was showing up, right? And there was somebody up here who said, and I didn't get to this one, but you're noticed when you're not there too. So that's really important for us to be mindful of as a team, as your community foundation. And we try to be everywhere we can be. I gotta tell you, like, I didn't realize how much our community had going on every week until I was in this role. We have to do better at communicating that. I've lived here for 28, 27, I don't know, 26 years, something like that, in the 20s. And I'm more aware now of how much we have going on everywhere in our community on every given week. So somehow we gotta move that forward too, and how we communicate all the things that we can be at as a community and enjoy. So we'll collect those cards off the table. That will help us listen and learn. So if you haven't written one down, but you have something pressing related to our values, please use your card, and we will collect those when we wrap up today. That helps our team just to know what we need to focus on. Oh, we appreciate your input. And so remembering the voice of our community, while it may not have been you in this room exactly, we did enlist our community in building our plan out together. And so you're helping to shape that today by sharing with us how to live those values. So we, again, thank you so much. What we shared today reinforces that plan, because at its core, this plan really isn't about the Battle Creek Community Foundation. It's about our community. It's about creating stronger connections and building stronger partnerships with each of you. We are the stewards of the resources, and we want to steward those resources responsibly and with integrity, and expand opportunities for generations to come. Again, our children's children. So I hope you take away from today that our strategic plan isn't a finish line, it's a beginning. We're here to listen, we're here to partner, and we're here to show up consistently in as many places and spaces as we can. So I want you to give yourselves a hand on your participation. Thank you so much, because you're helping to shape the next days ahead. And I want to acknowledge the amazing Battle Creek Community Foundation team that's here. Some of our team members are here with us today. Some are still back at the office running the show. If everybody from Bccf can stand, raise your hands. And I want to acknowledge our Board of Trustees. If you're on the board and in the room, please stand up and raise your hand. These folks have worked through a significant season of transition at the foundation with resilience, professionalism, and deep commitment to this community. Please know the deep commitment to this community is real at the foundation. I couldn't be more proud of the intentionality and the integrity each one of those members on the team and the board bring to this work every day. So as we come, I feel like I've been talking forever, but I'm excited to now listen. As we come to the close of my remarks, I'd ask for each of you, before you leave today, if you saw somebody raising their hand and you don't know who they are, I'd love you to introduce yourself before you head out today. So that's my little ask of together, living together, that value. We would love to continue conversations with you. So if you leave us your information, we can connect with you, or again, meet folks, and they can take forward the conversation. So we will have some time for just general questions, dialogue if you'd like. But I want to wrap up to say, as we look ahead, I'm incredibly inspired by this community, by our community. Not because our work is easy, I don't think anything is easy in days to come, but because our community is amazing. Our community has resilience, generosity, creativity, compassion, and opportunity embedded in how we were formed as a community. And so the future of Battle Creek, it's not going to be built by one organization. It never has been. It's always been built and strongest when we are together. So Doug, thank you for bringing up together, because it was my wrap-up of the speech. When we move together, we're stronger, and we're committed to that at BCCF. We are with and we are for our community. We say it and we mean it. So that's the path in front of us. I ask you to join me in being resolute to come together for the future of our community. And I thank you, and I appreciate your time in listening. I know I just said a lot of words. And I'd love to open up the floor for questions and comments if you'd like, but I will set down the mic and let someone else grab it up if they'd like to ask. Yes, Sherry.
First, let me say I really enjoyed this, so thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Secondarily, the responses to everything, I would really like to collectively read them all somewhere.
Sure.
And while probably everybody in here could read the screen really well, I couldn't.
I had to, did you see me? I was up here.
So that would be just one thing I might say, because they're all great. And if you could then make those collectively available later, or maybe after your next meeting next week, that would be valuable.
Super.
I love that suggestion. We can compile these, especially the mentee comments, because they're the easiest to capture. Somebody needs to grab this from me before I lose it. Somebody, anybody? And then any of the cards left on the tables, we can also capture those. So I appreciate that suggestion. That's a great one. Other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
In your speaking,
Thanks, Carolyn.
thank you. You mentioned about artist workshops of the arts, having a workshop. Do notices come out on that, or how do I just call down and say we're doing the next one, or will there be a project manager assigned?
Yeah, so do you want to speak to the participatory grant making around arts, how we identify folks to come to the table? Elizabeth can speak to that one.
Yeah, the fund that we were using was very specific in what qualified, so we literally invited every organization that met the donors criteria to the table to determine how the funds would be forward.
So when you get that criteria, was it, I don't remember being widespread that we would know about?
It wasn't because, so like the donor established the fund with us and they said, we want to fund this kind of project that has to be and basically arts infrastructure funding for permanent arts organizations. So it was like, in other words, other criteria under it. Like it couldn't be for events, it couldn't, have to be very, so like music center was asked to the table, the arts center was asked to the table, regional history museum. So it was permanent arts organizations whose mission was arts, rather than somebody doing events. Not individual artists.
Yeah.
It was specifically it was old arts and industry council funding that originally was established to like run the Discovery Theater and everything, so it was specifically for, back then, remember, so it was really arts infrastructure, so we went through the list of everybody who'd ever been funded, and then brainstormed, okay, what are the arts organizations in the community that meet these things, and we invited them all to the table and let them kind of work through a process of how funding should be, and they ended up with each of them that's getting an equal amount for 3 years, and then we'll revisit it, see if any new arts organizations that meet the criteria have popped up, but we felt part of the reason of doing it is also leaning into the trust-based philanthropy and not wanting to, only a handful are actually eligible for the funding based on that donor's criteria. Why are we making them compete or put in big applications? We already know they're great organizations. And how do we work together to make sure that they're all being supported, because we don't have a last year it was a different group, or fund everybody in the same amount, or, like do you want an application, do you not want an application? So we kind of let them know that. But it was just basically based on what the donor had said it could be used for.
I appreciate the question, because it's a good question. We need to ask those questions of how are the decisions made, right? And so reminding, I mentioned this, but I'll say again, we have over 1,000 funds that are donor specified, right? And so that's what Elizabeth was just speaking to, is we invited everyone that would have qualified, but that's unfortunately not everyone, because the donor had some specifications around that funding. So 1,000 funds with donor specification in those funds of how we spend the dollars. That's how our grants come forward. Good question. More questions? Oh, good. In the back. Yeah, Angela's got you. Good to see you.
Mary,
This is not working. Here,
Mary, this has been a wonderful.
No, but it's not going to work for you. Here you go.
Mary, it's been a wonderful afternoon to be hearing about the good things happening in our region. I wanted to know what you thought about how the economy has affected the resources that the Community Foundation has invested.
Thank you for the question. So our investments are doing well. I think most recently there's been actually Joel's in the room. He helps us with our investments. The endowments are doing well. I think how the economy though has affected the work we do is that the need's never been greater. And those are words that we've been saying in the nonprofit space for a long time. I try not to say them very often, but I'm saying them today. The need really hasn't been greater than it is today. We have basic needs that need support around food security, housing, all of those areas. But, see, it keeps breaking out, I don't know. But I would say our investments are doing well in the market overall, with a month up or down here and there. So we're growing. We're growing both in the investment side of our endowments, but also we have seen some really meaningful giving over the last couple of years. I think, we've been talking a lot about, in the current times, it's easy to give immediately in front of what's immediately in front of you. I don't know why one of the batteries is dying. It's easy to do that, or not easy. That's what's right in front of you is maybe what you think about when you give right now. I'm doubling down on, I'm really humbled and honored to be stewarding as a community foundation endowment, meaning long after all of us are here. And I'm doubling down on we need to be giving to endowment just as much as we're giving to what's right in front right now. Otherwise, our children's grandchildren aren't going to experience the same support that your kids, grandchildren, and the kids experience today. Oh, thanks. I'm going to say that room more often with you, sir. You go ahead. You go ahead. Appreciate it. I really think that's important, so I appreciate the question of how the investments are doing, because we are the stewards for tomorrow, not just right now. Good questions. Comments? Any of the above? Was this helpful? What do we improve next time? Let's do this again next week. If you have notes for me, just write them down, hand them to me before you walk out, okay? I really, really, really appreciate, first of all, thank you. Where's Pastor French? She was in the room. Thank you for having us. Appreciate you. Also, I didn't see you stand up, so I'm going to call it. Pastor French is one of our amazing Board of Trustee members, and I appreciate her oversight and governance every day. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't miss another board member in the room. I don't think I did, right, Pastor? Appreciate Washington Heights. Thank you all for setting up such a lovely space. And then I did want to make sure we introduce the BCCF team. Make sure you say hello. Make sure you share your name if you haven't met one of the folks in the room from the Battle Creek Community Foundation. We would love to get to know you. And I appreciate so much Danny and the whole team pulling to take it together. We've never done anything like this. And I hope that it was a good beginning, because we hope to do this over and over again for the community. It's done. It's telling me I must be done now.